So next Shabbat technically is Tisha B'Av, is the 9th day of Av, which is the day that commemorates the worst tragedies in our history. But of course, Shabbat postpones the commemoration of Tisha B'Av. Nothing trumps Shabbat. And thus, the actual commemoration will be tomorrow, or Saturday night of next week, the 6th, and then Sunday morning, the 7th. And we are glad to be together as a community this year, hosted over at Ohev Shalom. But Tisha B'Av, we prepare for it. Last week we began the first Haftarah of admonition. This week we continue. Next week we read another one. We have the period of time between the fast of Tammuz and then the beginning of Rosh Chodesh Av, which was just Thursday and Friday. We escalate our commemoration to prepare for Tisha B'Av. But we also de-escalate. After Tisha B'Av, there are 7 Haftarot of consolation and comfort. There is the attempt to lift us up again. And that's what I would like to focus on when we get to our daily, our unique daily practice. We'll have the normal warm-ups that we do, and then when we focus on Tisha B'Av, it'll be about that feeling of preparing and then that feeling of rejuvenation. So with that as the introduction, I'll just invite you to sit comfortably wherever you are. Make sure that your body is not being pinched or twisted or in any way uncomfortable. It should not be a distraction. We listen to our body a lot, as we should, but we also need to make sure that our body's in a position where it can be silent for a while, to allow us to feel our soul, the spirit inside of us. We can just allow our body to rest comfortably enough that we can, just as a beginning, feel our breath, that rise and fall, that gentle ebb and flow that persists in our life. And we recognize just in that moment of still awareness, as we feel our body continuing to do what it does to keep us alive, that gift that we are present in that moment. It's not just that we are here, but we are here. The I that sits behind the eyes. Aware and awake, noticing ourself, noticing our own existence, and accepting it as a gift, and accepting that God granted us this gift of a soul that makes this beautiful form of life possible, granted us a soul that was pure. Each morning then we recite, Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenata bi, Shenata bi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. Oh my God, oh my God, the soul that you placed in me, that you placed in me, it is pure, it is pure. Elohai, oh my God, Neshama, the soul, Shenata bi, that you placed in me, Tehorahi, it is pure. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenata Shenatabi, Shenatatabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi. As we awaken to the beauty of our own existence, the miracle of our creation, as we recognize that we are a miracle in this world, as perhaps we even become amazed at our own existence, we follow that amazement and turn it into a sense of awe and wonder that our existence was made possible in the first place. We may begin with a recognition of ourself, but we travel through that recognition to see a universe that was shaped to allow us to come into being, a universe that was formed by a singular essence that allows all to be connected and all to be infused with the sanctity and beauty. This recognition of God through our recognition of ourself is at the heart of our faith. We begin by noticing that we are a miracle, and then we seek the one who made that miracle possible. As we encounter that one in the blessing of Baruch She'amar V'haya Ha'olam Baruch Hu, blessed is the one who spoke and the world came to be. Blessed is that one. As we recognize this, we allow our breathing to come into sync with the phrase, to come into sync with the world, to recognize that our own individual essence is part of the grand orchestra of God's creation. I invite you to break your breathing into 4 pieces, that you may be more mindful of it, that you may be able to respect and appreciate each stage in our existence as symbolized through our breath. As we inhale at the first phrase, Baruch She'amar, we breathe in deeply, pulling in down to the middle of ourself, that feeling of joyous fullness of being able to sustain merely at the opening of our passages. As we allow it to be within us for V'haya Ha'olam, we can feel that fullness, that great strain of the universe holding God's essence in every corner of the world. And then as we exhale, Baruch Hu, recognizing the blessing of that one, we allow ourselves to be emptied, feeling ourselves giving back to this world, being part of it, not taking and holding, but taking, using, and giving back. And then in that moment of silence, the stillness between breaths, we allow ourselves that peace of emptiness to feel that connection on that different level. Baruch She'amar V'haya Ha'olam Baruch Hu. 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 as you continue the rhythm at your own pace. At each stage, try to be an active participant. When you breathe in, do not allow the air to simply come in. Pull it into you and grasp at it with the joy of grasping for that life that is given. Allow it to come down deep into you. Do not hesitate and stop it at your throat or your chest, but allow it to come down deep into your core. As we hold the breath within us, as we allow it to fill ourselves, feel your body straining to contain it. Feel that fullness of having been lifted up, buoyed by that gift. Allow your body to ripple with its pressure within, that comforting presence. As we exhale, do not merely let the air escape. Push the air out, help it back into the world. Give it back willingly, gratefully. Having used what you needed, allow it to be pushed back into the world. You need not hold on. Do not swirl away pockets within you. Allow yourself to be empty, for there will be more. You will be sustained. And in that moment of emptiness, help your body to be still, not gasping for the next breath that will come, not aching from what the emptiness in, for you are never empty with your soul. Allow yourself that peace, and the next breath will come. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam Baruch Hu. Baruch she'amar v'haya ha'olam Baruch Hu. Having taught ourselves to breathe and synchronicity with the universe, we can now sing in the symphony of its glory. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshama hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah, Kol anshamat hallelujah, hallelujah. Give praise to Adonai, all that has a soul. For indeed, all that has a soul that was given by the singular source, by the eternal, by the essential Echad. This is why the Shema has become the pillar of our expression, of our understanding of God. Shema Yisrael, listen Israel, hear the sound of God and the sound of our people. Adonai Eloheinu. There is no substitute. It is Adonai that is our God. It is this essence of existence that is our God. It is the source of all that is our God. For Adonai Echad, for only Adonai is one. All others are divisions, all others are fractions, all others are diminished. Adonai alone is one in the truest sense of one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. As God is one, it is the same God who is with us in triumph, and the same God who is with us in catastrophe. As we approach this commemoration of Tisha B'Av, as we go through these dark days, the beginning of the month of Av, from the fast of Tammuz, we are reminded that our people began in jubilation and exultation, having been freed from Egypt, having crossed the wilderness, having settled in the land of Israel. At that stage, our people felt the life that was granted to them by God, and they rejoiced. Throughout this next section, I will invite you to adopt different body poses and postures. Nothing drastic. If you wish to stand, you may do so. If you are more comfortable and at peace seated, then stay there as well. If you would like, though, as we begin, you can lift your arms as our people would have done in thanksgiving, as they felt at those moments in the early years. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai. As you allow your arms to gently relax, our people had to turn from those moments of joy and recognize that the gifts that God had given us were beyond understanding and beyond comparison to what we had to do ourselves. We began to falter, to wonder, to doubt, would we be up to the task of being able to shape this world, to protect ourselves, to follow in God's ways? We began to wonder, because there is nothing like God. Nothing like God among all that is mighty, human or else called God. And there is nothing like the deeds God has done. Will we be able to sustain ourselves without God sustaining us for us? Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'ein kemasecha. Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai v'ein kemasecha. Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai v'hein kema'asecha. If you allow yourself to slump a little bit in the chair, feel the exhaustion of our people over the centuries. They had been liberated from Egypt, but then they faltered under their own power, unable to rise to what God had called us to, unable to match God's deeds. We began to see that our Elohim, our judges, our leaders, were not up to the task. We could feel our nation drifting away from Adonai. Singular voices, such as those of Yirmiyahu, Jeremiah the prophet, called us to call out to God, to seek God. For it is from God that we can find our help, if God will answer and be gracious. Elecha Adonai ekra, El Adonai etchanan. Elecha Adonai ekra, El Adonai etchanan. Shema Adonai v'choneni Our words give way to tears as the temples burn, as our people collapse in mournful grief. Ash and dust surround, famine and grief. But those who would eventually rise from the position bent by this burden, they were the ones who turned to Adonai, who called out to Avinu, called out to our parent, loving, willing to accept us again, Malkeinu, our ruler, who would guide and stand with us. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'aneinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Choneinu v'aneinu, ki ein banu ma'asim. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Aseh imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshiyenu. Avinu Malkeinu. What is our merit, Adonai, that we ask that you help us? We deal with us with justice, but go beyond justice and deal with us with compassion, with kindness. It is thus we can be delivered. So from that moment of grief and pain, from Tisha B'Av, we allow ourselves to sit up a little bit more uprightly, with more strength, with more hope. For we know that God will return us to our place, will return us to our strength. Shivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva. Return us, God, to you, and we will return. Chadesh yamenu kekeden. Make our days like those at the beginning. Restore our days as they were, as at first. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva. Chadesh Yamenu kekedem. Hashivenu, turn us, Adonai, Elecha, to you, away from the distractions, away from our failures. V'nashuva, and we will turn. Chadesh Yamenu kekedem. Make our days as they were at the beginning. Allow us to feel that joy that we had at the start when we left Egypt, stood at Sinai, crossed the Jordan. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. It is the blessing of Torah that gives us the strength to rise from the destruction. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato. As we stride out from among the ruins, the Horban, the ashes, the destruction, the pain, we recognize that at all times we have had Torah, we have had God. Our buildings may have fallen, our nation may have scattered, our rulers may have been removed. But Torah has always been in our heart, and God has always been with us. We have been able to overcome anything. We will overcome everything. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Hod Avinu Chai, Hod Avinu Chai. Hod Avinu, Hod Avinu, Hod Avinu Chai. Hod Avinu Chai, Hod Avinu Chai. Hod Avinu, Hod Avinu, Hod Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael 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 Chai. Old Avinu Chai, our Father still lives, and thus Am Yisrael Chai, and thus the people of Israel still live. May we be worthy of the life that we have been granted. May we weep for the catastrophes of the past, and may we wipe our tears and prepare for a future of wonder and beauty. Shabbat Shalom. You are welcome to join the main sanctuary whenever you are ready. Those of you on live stream, the feed will switch automatically in a few minutes. Thank you for participating this morning. And hopefully you'll also be able to participate in person or through the live stream for our Tisha B'Av commemoration next Saturday night and Sunday morning at Ohev Shalom.